Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing. And I'm honored to have in studio today a very special guest with us today. This is President Ravindran, who is the president of Rotary International, a group of 1.2 million members around the world. President Ravi, thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure being here, Devin.
We're thrilled to have you here in studio. President Ravi is here in Salt Lake City to attend the Parliament of World Religions. President Ravi, tell us a little bit about why you thought it was worth your time to come give a speech at this event.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was more surprised than you were when I received this invitation, because I think in a way I'm a square peg in a round hole. As far as Rotary is concerned, we are secular in that sense. So there's no sort of religion that we foster or no particular religion that we hanker after. All our members have come from different religious beliefs. We try to leverage our strengths by working with them, and they in a way bring their own individual religious talents and beliefs into the organization. We place more emphasis on the essence of their religion rather than the actual physical, the trappings of the religion. I think we care more about the deeds than the creeds. And since our members come from all religious backgrounds, the only caveat we have is that we should not allow their religious backgrounds to separate us or create a cliff between us. So subject to that, Rotary in many ways is a religion of a different sort, even though it's not a religion. Because personally, my view, and the views of many, is that the best service we do to him above is the service we do to man here. Because his work is done through people like us. So we think we are a sort of religion, but still not religious.
Yes. Well, I love what you said, that you care more about the deeds than the creeds. And it seems to me that religion is a legitimate motivator for many people for the good they do. Is that what you see in Rotary, that religion tends to motivate in a similar way despite differences in creeds?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I can use layman's language, you have a balance sheet of life. You have your assets and you have your liabilities. And as we get older, we realize that there is a day when we have to answer. And Rotary gives you the ability to build your asset side of your life, your balance sheet. And in everyone's religion, I mean, there is no religion which does not talk about do unto others what you do unto yourself. So Rotary gives you the avenue to do something good. But the important thing is, because of the different class of members, different skills of members, it allows you to leverage your strength and do something 1,000,000 times better than what you could do by yourself. I mean, I can tell you some of the projects that we are doing, which I'm involved with personally, which other Rotarians are involved. Yeah. We could never achieve that by ourselves. But because of the combined talents of individual members, the whole thing gets telescoped, magnified, and you're able to achieve something substantial.
Yeah. Well, Rotary is famous for its work with polio. Polio eradication effort, very successful, not quite done yet. Is that a good example of what we do?
We do. I mean, we work with an umpteen number of different areas where there is a need. Different sectors, different communities have different needs, and we try to cope with them. But polio is our corporate project. It is a project which we started some time ago, nearly 20, 30 years ago. We never knew it would take this long. We never knew it would be this complex. But I can tell you, many billions of dollars later, many man-hours later, we are now at the point where the world had 1,000 cases of polio a day, which means 1,000 kids were getting paralyzed a day, to a point when we've had this year, whole of this year, only 44 cases, and all of them from two countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. So the wild polio virus, which is now endemic only in two countries, we've abolished it from the rest. Our task is not done yet, but we're now talking about maybe months, not years, when we can finish this job. And remember, when we are done, it will only be the second disease in the world after smallpox ever eradicated. And I must tell you here, Rotary's been done an advocacy role. Rotary is the one that has been the voice of the polio eradication program. But we have partners. We should not be taking the credit by ourselves. We have WHO, we have UNICEF, we have CDC, we have the Gates Foundation who are working closely with us. And most of all, we have the governments of the world. They are the ones who physically go and work with us. We were the advocates who brought them in, but I think we've made this tremendous partnership. And we've shown what private sector, public sector, multilateral sector, if they do together, work together, what you can achieve.
What are some of the other projects you've been involved with as a Rotarian? You mentioned that you've been involved with a lot, currently involved with a lot. Just give us one or two.
Well, after the tsunami which hit my country, I come from Sri Lanka. It's a small country in the southern tip of India, the Indian Ocean. The tsunami killed almost 60,000 people in our country. We looked at everything we could do, and we said, when the time goes on, when people ask us, what did you do when the tsunami hit you? I said, we have got to do a little more than just saying we gave bandages, we gave water, we gave antibiotics, we sheltered people for a few days. We needed to do something substantial. And one of the things Sri Lankan Rotarians did was to build 24, 25 high quality schools. We raised almost $12 million. We built the schools, handed it back to the government within 3 years, so that 15,000 children who not only lost their schools, who may have lost some of their parents, who may have lost some of their things, were at least able to go back to a school better than where they were before. And those schools are a monument to the work of Rotary in Sri Lanka. I mean, I can honestly say that in Sri Lanka, without Rotary, the country would have suffered. Oh,
yeah. That is such a tragic but apropos story. I appreciate you sharing that. I want to shift gears just a little bit and ask you a couple of more personal questions. As president of Rotary, there are people all around the world who look up to you as a role model, as an inspiration. But who do you look up to as a role model? Who inspires you?
Devin, I'm not sure that anyone looks up at me and looks after me.
It's pretty clear I'm looking up to you.
No, I'm a very ordinary person who comes from a small country. And that's one of the good things about Rotary, that someone like me who comes from a tiny little island can become president. But in many ways, my own role model has been Mother Teresa. I met her the first time, I can tell you, when I walked into her office in Calcutta. I was seated in front of her, and when I was talking to her, behind her right shoulder, there was a door closing and shutting, and it was distracting me. So every time the door banged, I looked up over her shoulders. At one stage, she caught my eye, she turned and looked, and she said, "Oh, that's my bathroom door." And she said, "You know, to serve the poor, you must live like the poor." And I can tell you many stories of Mother Teresa thereafter. A small, frail lady, and yet a giant when she walks into the room. There was one occasion when there was a show in Calcutta with, I think it was the famous guitarist Ravi Shankar's brother, and we had all high-priced ticket in the front rows. Mother Teresa walked in, everyone knew she was coming, so they were waiting for her. Mother Teresa walked in with about 30, 40 children, came right to the front and looked at the front rows, the high-priced tickets, and said, no, this is for my children. You people all go to the back. And she made her children sit down on those first 2 or 3 rows. And everyone smilingly went to the back. No one worried and said, I paid so much for this ticket. That was Mother talking. Mother.
Yes.
Amazing woman. And she's someone I've admired. I've read her sayings. I have her books. It's I think if there's one person who has moved me more than anyone else, Mother Teresa. And you know what, Devin? I tell my Rotarians, we can all be a Mother Teresa for 20 minutes, for 2 hours, for 2 days, for 2 weeks. We can be a Mother Teresa, we can be a Nelson Mandela, we can be a Mahatma Gandhi, we can be a Martin Luther King. That's what Rotary allows you to do. We can't all give up our lives and become a Mother Teresa and all these people. But for 2 days, for 2 weeks, for a few hours, we can all be a Mother Teresa.
That is a great and inspiring point. Thank you. Now, you have devoted an inordinate amount of time. You told me a minute ago before we started that you had in fact taken a leave of absence from your company, where you're the CEO, in order to serve as the president of Rotary International as a volunteer. I wonder if you would just explain why you devote so much time to service. Why is it so important to you to devote your life to Rotary and to service?
Well, I can tell you, I am what I am because of Rotary. I would not be the person I am if not for Rotary. But leaving that aside, my philosophy in life is that, and it's not mine, I think I read it somewhere, that you must live as though you will die tonight. And you must plan as though you live 100 years. So you don't take shortcuts in what you're trying to do. But you know, if you think you're going to die tonight, your perception to life changes. You no longer worry about fighting with siblings over a small piece of land. Little piece of money doesn't matter, because tomorrow we would all be gone anyway. So my attitude to my life and my company is this. I told my company that if you can't manage without me for 2 years, what will you do if I die tonight? It's also a testimony to whether I've managed this company properly, that they survived without me for 2 years. But more importantly, Rotary allows me to truly demonstrate, truly give some of my own talents, if I had any, back, because I believe that all of us must be a gift to the world. We come here, we live 60, 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 years, and then we are gone. And when you look at it in millenniums, it's just a fraction. It's a dot in the whole ocean. And during that time, we should be a gift to this world. We should not be a liability. And this 2-year sojourn of working for Rotary truly allows me to demonstrate or attempt to reach that position where I can, when I get older, I can say, look, I made a difference to this world. I can't do that only running my company. There's a point at which how many suits can you wear? How many cars can you own? And I think this Rotary has given me a chance not only to be a gift to the world, to encourage others to be gifts to the world.
That is an inspiring response. I appreciate that. I think everyone who's watching wants to be a gift to the world. That's what we have in common, those of us who are engaged in this dialogue. I wonder, President Ravi, everyone who's watching does have this desire to do more good in the world. And we're always struggling to find some new way, some new skill, some new habit, some tip. Can you give us some insight into something you do? We call it an impact hack that we can adopt from your example.
Devin, I told you I'm a very ordinary person and I'm not sure what they can learn from me. But there are two things which I try and do. One is you have to walk your talk. You can't stand behind a lectern. You can't stand behind a podium. You can't stand and talk to your workers, your friends, your family, what you don't do yourself. Because if you do that, you become a politician. And I have nothing against politicians. We need them. But you know, sometimes I read somewhere that being a politician is to be able to tell the future, say this is the vision for the future. And then when the time comes, be able to explain why it could not happen. Now we have to be a little different. So I've tried throughout my life, whether it's with my family, whether it's with my workers in the company or in Rotary, that you have to walk the talk. What you say, you must demonstrate. If you ask your workers, I want you to work a night shift, you must be prepared to do it yourself. If you tell them that this is the type of conduct I want, you must do it yourself. You must be the role model for them to look and say, wow, he says it, why can't we do it? And the second thing is, I think I have no false illusions about my own abilities or talents. And I try and make up for it by surrounding myself with very clever people, certainly people who are more clever than me. That way, well, I tell you, it's a very selfish thing, because then they do the work, the job gets done, and I get the credit. See, it's unbeatable solution. So that's what I recommend to everyone. Yeah. Surround yourself with clever people. I mean, they say that we can judge your character by the friends you move around with. That's very true. It's very true, because what keeps you together are the same likes, the same habits. So you surround yourself with good people, whether it's in a leadership position, whether in school, whether you're with family, and things work out for you.
Now, that is great insight. I love especially walk the talk. It just sounds, that's such a powerful concept, because all of us who are watching, all of us engaged in this dialogue want to do more good. We talk about doing more good. If we just walked a little more and talked a little less, we'd be great. So that's great insight. Thank you very much, President Ravi.
You can't tell people to donate money if you don't donate first.
That's right.
You can't tell them go work somewhere in some community unless you're willing to do it yourself.
Well, President Ravi, before you go, tell people how they can learn more about Rotary.
Get onto Rotary.org. You can contact me on Twitter. You can contact me on Facebook. But I think if you get onto our website, you have all the information that you need. www.rotary.org.
Very good. Thank you very much, President Ravi. We appreciate you being here today and wish you every success in the great work you're doing.
Honored that you invited me, Devin.
Thank you. Let's do some